GM everybody. Welcome to our today's episode. I'm super excited. This is the episode in which I show you how you build your very first Blink. And it is a very minimal one because we will be sending little messages on chain so that everyone can, read our poems and what's up to us. We will use the Memo Program for that, and of course, we're gonna use Blinks. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Bjorn. I do developer relations for Dialect Labs. And if during this session, during this tutorial, you feel that something is missing or you didn't get something right, you can always shoot me a message. I am at bjorn.soul on Telegram and on X. And I'm also available through our Discord. So if you prefer a broader discussion about a topic, please join our Discord. It's discord.gg/say-dialect. And then we see you in the dev channel. And before we start with the coding, one last little thing. Maybe you watch us on YouTube, maybe you watch us on X, but for sure there's gonna be a follow button, or if you're on YouTube, even the subscribe and the alerts button. And I would really appreciate if you could click it, because it's a win-win, not just that our channel grows and we see that our content is valuable for you, but it's also for you a thing so that you never miss any of our new videos. And little spoiler alert, we plan lots of content. We will soon have new releases coming up, and I'm sure you don't want to miss them. So hit this bell and make sure that you are always up to date. And with that, I would say let's start with the code. And as always, let's quickly discuss what we will build today. So what we need today is we need a memo program. Lucky enough for us, it's already deployed on chain. We will need our scaffold to create our post routes and our get routes. We need a get request to render a UI that can be used to input our message. We need a post request that we need to build a transaction that will be written on chain. And then finally, we will need our wallet to sign this transaction. So let's get started. I am already in my terminal, so I will start by cloning our scaffold. To do that, I say npx create blink scaffold. And what it does now, it asks me what chain I want to use. I want to use Solana, and I call this Memo Blink as my project name. What our scaffold is now doing is it will create our template. So it means it takes our latest template from our GitHub repository. It will install all the dependencies. It will create a little Git repo for me, at least locally. And now I can just cd into my Memo Blink and open my editor real quick as well, because we will code in a few seconds. Let's open this and make the font a bit bigger. And then also we want to say npm run dev to see if everything worked out. So let's go here. It should load our donation Blink, which it does. Perfect. So the scaffold is up and running, packages are installed. Next thing that we can do is we can start with the boilerplate. So Blinks are kind of repetitive. A few things are always the same. We have this options route, we have those headers, and we have a few basic imports. And I like to do this always up front, because if I do it up front, I know for myself I don't miss anything. And for me, this is the most important thing. So let's do a few more seconds for the config before we start with the GET request. To do that, let's go back to our cursor. You see here we have our source folder. If you open that one, you go to API, and then you see our scaffold already comes with a donation Blink. This is what you see right here. But now we want to have our own Blink that we write today. So we click here on this actions one, say new folder, and we call it memo. And also we create a new file in here that we call route.ts. And a little tip here, sometimes it's not so clear if you have a proper subfolder. Sometimes, you could have done like a subfolder of donate and sol or something like this. Therefore, always check if you do such a thing here on top, if this is proper. So here in my opinion, in my case, I see it's API, it's actions, it's memo, it's route.ts. It's exactly the way I want. It's not in some sort of subfolder. It's right here. So let's start with our boilerplate part. Our boilerplate is, as I said, the headers and the options. So I will start importing first and foremost our action headers. So it's called action course headers from our Solana actions package. And then we say we want to have our headers. And then our headers will also import, the blockchain IDs, because this is also what we need. So every blockchain has an ID. And this ID tells our client exactly what blockchain you need. But it's also cryptic. And because it's cryptic, it's always good to have it somewhere stored. And we have done this for you in the Solana Actions package. So you can just take it from there. This blockchain ID now tells our client in the front end, hey, actually, this is a Blink that runs right now on the DevNet or on the mainnet from Solana. Or if it's any other chain, they also all have those IDs. So it would immediately know, okay, this is an EVM Blink or a Solana Blink or something like that. I think it gets clear when I show you now. So let's say we say const blockchain, and then we go to blockchain IDs.devnet, because our Blink will be in the DevNet today. And with that, we do the course headers. This looks good. We start with action course headers here. This is the basic import. Then the next thing that we do is we give it the blockchain ID. So we call it X blockchain ID. And this is blockchain. And then also we give it an actions version. It's an X action version. And the version is 2.4. Okay, these are our headers. And the next thing that we want to do is we want to handle the options request handler if you want. And then we say export export const options. And then, it's async. And then we return just a null. So we say return new response. It's null. And it also gets our headers. Nice. And that's it. So this is our minimal boilerplate. Now, once that's done, we can finally go and start with our GET request that will build our UI. Let's get started with our GET request. So let's say GET request. Okay, we can also say handler. I don't bother. Say export GET. It's async request. And then what we want to do is we want to import our action get response. That's correct. Action get response. Come on, like so. And also I see I missed an S right here if I look correctly about the code. All right. So let's start here. What I normally always do is I create a payload. So I say const payload. And this is a action get response, as we said before. Then the action get response itself, it comes with a type. The type is action. And then what we have is a title. Call it my memo link. It comes with a description. Say this is a little blank that allows you to write a memo on chain. Perfect. Say you want to have an icon as well. No, let's first say label, even though it's not so important because we'll override it. Say just save memo. And then it needs an icon. And for the icon, what I normally do is I do a little Google. Let's say memo icon maybe. I don't know what it gives me here. Let's just take one of these. It's not really important. Then just take a right mouse click and say copy image address. And then we just paste it in here. So let's hope that it works. We'll see soon. And then we go with links. Links is an object that has an actions in it, which is an array. And then this array has a button. This is from type transaction. And then we have a path. So it's href /API/actions/memo is the route that we did. And then it also comes with a label, I guess. And let's say save memo. Very important part here is our parameters, because we have to tell it what we actually plan to do here. And then in those parameters, we have a name, which is memo, and we have a type, which is, we go with text. And then we say it is required, because we don't want empty text. And then we give it a label as well, and we say input, tell us your memo. Yeah, good enough, I would say. Tell, whisper, say, I don't know, save. Type in your memo. I think that's okay. So the payload itself looks like nothing is bad here. So let's then start sending it. So let's say return the payload. That's fine. Say return new response. Response as a JSON. You have to make a JSON. Put it, let's say this stringify. And we do this with our payload. And also it needs headers. Perfect, this sounds great, looks good. The thing that's left is we just check if it's working. So let's go to our page.tsx file right here. And then we have our link API URL. Let's just change it to memo. And let's see if I go back to the browser. Yeah, it has now the new image. It has the title and the description. It also has an input field. If I say like 1, 2, 3, say save memo, it should give me an error. Yes. And this is because it has now tried to send this to our post endpoint, but post endpoint is not existing yet. And this is what we will make in the next step. Okay. And now let's finish this thing, because what's missing still is our post request. So let's build this thing and make sure we can write something on chain. So to start, let's say post request handler. We say export const, it's a post. And this thing is also async, like so. Then this async itself has a request in it, like so. And then from this request, we want to extract a few nice things. The first thing what we want to extract is extract the account. The account will be the public key, and we want to extract the memo. Really nice. To do that, we start with our account. First things first, let's say const request, and this is an action post request, and this is an await request.json. Our action post request has to be imported, so let's say action post request like so. That's perfect. Let's go down again. And also, because we have here our memo, we also want to tell it that there is this memo inside of the request. To do that, we say memo, and the memo is a string. Okay. Next is we want to extract our account from the request, which is the public key. And then we want to extract our memo. Our memo is const memo, and this is request data.memo. So it already said question mark. I probably don't like that. I want to make sure that it's there, and if it's not there, I send them an error. So let's say if not request data.memo, then return a new response. And then this response, yeah, it can be from type error, and it says no memo provided. That's fine. In this case, we can be sure that the memo is there. Next thing that we will do is we create an instruction. So for this instruction, const instruction equals, let me quickly import this first. So we say import, and this is going to be from web3.js, and it is it's instruction, but I think it is transaction instruction. Possible? Yes, looks good. Transaction instruction, and then in this transaction instruction, we say new transaction instruction, right? And in there we have keys is empty, and then we have a program ID, and this is a new public key, so we have to import public key here as well. And we also have to import from our Solana actions the Memo Program ID, because it's already in there. Quite handy if you ask me. So we go down again, it asks us for the program ID, so we say new public key Memo Program ID. That's perfect. And then the only thing that's missing is our data. The data is also a buffer from type memo. What's wrong here? Okay, so it says it's not clear that it should be a string. So in this case, let's just cast it for a sec, because we know it is a string. Then with this transaction, we have to put this one in a message. So create transaction message. Again, something we have to import here. So we say transaction message, all right. And I say const message new transaction message, all right. That's all cool. It asks us for payer key, This is actually should be account. And it needs, okay, it needs to be a public key. That's fine. Say public key. That's all right. Then it asks us for the instructions. Our instructions is just this IX. And then it asks us for the recent block hash. Recent block hash. To do that, we need a connection. So let's go up again in Web3.js. Let's import connection. And then let's say connection to DevNet. We say const connection equals new connection. And this is gonna be our sounds good. api.devnet.solana.com. So it knows we have to connect there. From there, we need a new block hash. So let's say get a block hash. So we say const recent block hash equals, and then we need our connection dot get latest block hash dot block hash. All right, this is a cons. Oh my god, what's wrong with me? And then you want to use this one here. This looks also good. So we have now the instruction. The instruction fits into our transaction message. And then from here, we want to build a transaction. So we say, create transaction. Stay with our words. What we want to use here is a version transaction. So we also gonna import version transaction. All right, that's also good. And then let's say const transaction equals new version transaction, and we give it our message. Dot compile v0 message. This looks good. And then once we did that, we have to create a payload. Let's say const payload. And the payload is our action. Let's go up. Let's see first. Action post response. It should be action post response from Solana actions. This makes sense. See, action post response. It imported it. That's great. And then from here we have a type. Type is transaction, and then the transaction we have to put it in a buffer and then do a base64. So it's from transaction.serialize. That's perfect. And then we do a toString base64, exactly how he says it. So it's good to me, like so. And the next thing that we do, instruction, message, transaction, payload, we send it. Yes. Would make sense to have this transaction also returned to our front end. So return payload, return new response. And we have JSON dot stringify our payload, and then we also need to give it our headers. And that's probably it. Let's see again if anything is red in here, but it doesn't really look like it. Okay, showtime. Let's open our browser again. And let's see what happens if I say 1, 2, 3 to this message now. Looks good. Okay, let me for 1 sec check that we are in the DevNet with this wallet as well. Okay, testnet mode, perfect. Then let's say 1, 2, 3 again. Let's say execute, let's say confirm. And it says completed. The next step, what we will do is we want to check where our message is. To do that, I just copy my wallet address. I go to Solana, explorer.solana.com, and I search for my wallet address. I switch to DevNet, that's really important. And then let's see, here is a few seconds ago a transaction, and if I click on it, let's scroll down, and then you can see the memo program was returned with a success, and it says 1, 2, 3. So you also see here the memo with a program which says 1, 2, 3. So our very secret 1, 2, 3 message is now saved on chain forever. And that's been it. So today, little wrap up. You learned how you can build your first Blink, a very simple one, which writes a message on chain. You have learned how you can use Web3.js, what the memo program is, how a GET request works, how the POST request works, and how you can set up a new route in our scaffold. You also saw the first things about the scaffold from us, meaning the command, how to set it up, how to configure it right. In the next tutorials, we will show you more advanced use cases, how you can use Blinks to your advantage. But before we start with that, short reminder, if you haven't already, please hit the notification bell, the subscription button, and the follow us button so that you don't miss our next content that's coming out. And also down there, we have comments. So let us know how you like this episode, what we can better, and what would be of interest for you. And with that, I say thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.